just with the state of everything right now, just a little bit of slowing down, a little bit of patience. Man, if you haven't learned patience right now, I don't know what else you could possibly learn. Like this is the biggest waiting game that anybody's had to do.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's just patience is a good thing. And
Always.
just, just I like listening to people, man. I just like listening to what they have to say. There's a lot of smarter people out there than me, and like hearing their perspectives. And I just think that's important. Being patient, listening, being kind. I mean, if you can do those things, I think you'll get a lot farther than it being like self-interested. And, I can actually tell you a story that's like a really good example of me not being patient and kind. When I was moving out of New York City and we were moving out of my girlfriend's apartment, like I dropped my girlfriend off for her to move out. And I was like, yeah, I'll drive around and I'll find a spot and then I'll come upstairs. And, you have a doorman in New York City and an elevator and everything like that. So I drive around for like 45 minutes or an hour and finally find a parking spot. And so like already I'm like kind of annoyed. And then I call her, and on her phone, she like didn't pick up, and she was upstairs, but she was like, I guess she was like cleaning a bathroom or didn't have the phone with her. It wasn't really her fault. So I go like the doorman. I was like, okay, my girlfriend's up there. She just came in. This is what she looks like. Let me up. And he was like, no. And I kind of like wasn't as polite as I should have been. And so I was like kind of mad. He wouldn't let me in. Then I took a step back and I realized like, yeah, I'm not mad at the doorman. This is really me being a person that's not acting the way that I should. And, my girlfriend ended up coming down, and I went to the doorman after, and I was like, look, I get it. You did the absolute right thing. Here is like a girl by herself. You've never seen me before. You're being protective of her. I was frustrated because I was driving around. I gave the guy like $20, and I was like, look, I was far in the wrong, and you dealt with my shit, and you were absolutely in the right, and like protected the building. And that's like the most you could ask of someone in your role. And so then the next day, like I needed to find a parking spot, right? And I'd already gone through that hour and spent like $50 parking in New York. And I guess the security guy overheard me, and like he appreciated it. I admitted I was not correct in my actions, and I think the $20 meant a lot. And he's like, yeah, there's this like secret spot on the side of the building that I can let you park in for the day. Like, it won't cost you anything. I'll just put you there. And, I just thought of how very professional he was in handling that situation. And just like realizing from that, like I was heated because like I was annoyed with driving around, and like this guy was doing his job. And like, I hope I made the right pivot to, instead of being like upset and like showing my appreciation for what he did. But it was just such a great lesson of like how easy it is to be so stuck in your own head and not realize where the other person is coming from. That was just like a great example of where I was not correct in my actions on that day.
I feel like that's like two decent interactions that happen back to back. You show humiliation. You showed
Humiliation. No, I
you
did show
showed
humiliation.
humility. You showed humility, and he showed appreciation, which is
Yeah.
why I got to humiliation. If you match those two together.
No, but my actions were not something to be proud of at first. But no, I think you're exactly right. And that was just a good lesson on both sides, right? Like you can be a little bit in the wrong, but you can course correct a little bit and, do a little bit better. And so, I mean, I think it was a great lesson because like, if you've ever been to New York City and like we just moved out of one apartment, and I mean, it was like a really long day, right? But, in that moment, I realized like, that guy has no idea what I'm dealing with. I just come into the building and, he's living in his world and he did a great job, right? Like that's the best thing you could ask of a doorman is for them to, do their job, which he did really well. So yeah, that was a lot of, it was a good learning lesson of just like, continuing to remember, be patient even when you're kind of frustrated.